The creator of Please Don't Buy That posted a clip accusing Muse of misleading consumers. Klarna revealed that more customers are struggling with the second part, paying later. The number of US job postings that mention Gen I has skyrocketed the past year, 170% from January 2024 to January 2025. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Vanessa Podcast. I'm Vanessa Sanyauke. I'm your host. I'm the founder and CEO of Girls Talk in the Hill app. And as you can see, it's a different setup. I am in my hotel room in Berlin. We have an event for one of our programs that we run at the Hill. It's called The House on the Hill. And essentially what it is, it's a senior leadership community. It's for women who hold senior roles in various sectors like the music industry, tech and finance. And we launched it in Berlin in March. And it's a curated community where we host dinners, we invite academic speakers, and we're just all about supporting women in leadership. It's very lonely when you're at VP level, maybe director of, you've got a large team, can be mostly male, and there are not many women who are at your level. So we are doing something about it. And Berlin, I love it in Berlin. It's like my second home. So we also deliver an event every year for women of color in tech. And Berlin is one of our biggest markets for just the appetite for the work that we do. It's very kind of now becoming a very, I guess, anti-women empowerment space. And just shout out to Germany and actually Europe. So Europe is a place for us where we've just got so much demand for what we do. So love being in Germany, in Berlin. I wasn't feeling well this week. So I had planned to shoot my podcast a day before, but I've been sick. I've not been well. I was so sick today. I've not eaten all day. And I've got to try and get this podcast done in literally about 20 minutes. So it's going to be a very quick episode for you, but I just wanted to be consistent. And I had to get up at 4 a.m. this morning. So when you talk about entrepreneurship, it is not fun. But I had to really be in a space of gratitude today because I used to pray and manifest to have a job. Can you imagine? Where I could travel, and I get to do that through my own business. Then tomorrow, so when you watch the pod, I will be in Atlanta, but tomorrow I have to fly back to the UK at 4 a.m., literally pick up another suitcase. I'm going to New York for one night and then going to Atlanta for a holiday, and a mutual friend, I'm her plus one at a wedding. So we're going to Atlanta. It's my first time in Atlanta, but I've gone to New York many times. So anyway, yes, a lot of traveling. I think the pod, I'm going to also be consistent. So I'll keep bringing you my solo episodes. I finally booked and paid for the studio for our in-person interviews. And I'm so excited about my first couple of guests. I've got one guest in America who we're going to do a virtual interview, who I absolutely love, and two guests in London. So I'm just, it's an interesting thing because I was kind of freaking out yesterday about the costs involved in making this podcast. And this was one of the reasons why I was just stop, because it's expensive. I'm not a famous influencer. I'm not a famous celebrity. I'm a woman that runs a small business. I'm doing her thing. I'm not made of money. I don't have major brands saying, yeah, we're going to, give you a 6-figure deal. So I'm funding this myself because I really believe in what I have to bring in this space in terms of being a woman and a Black woman talking about business and culture from so many different angles. And I feel like we need more female podcasters, especially. But most importantly, I just love to talk. I love it. I love talking. I love sharing my opinions. And I also love interviewing people. And so I'm just in this space where I want to invest in my dreams and not start. So I'm being consistent. And I just thought yesterday, Vanessa, you have to make sure that you're not just creating content for content's sake. I want it to be quality. I want to bring you all the best quality. So that means great guests, but also a great studio, great production, great editing. And yes, you have to be mindful of cost. So when I shoot my solo episodes, I actually had my own home studio set up because the lighting was better and it was much more cost efficient, but I wasn't compromising on the quality. And I'm using my iPhone. I use my iPhone 16 to shoot my solo episodes because I'm getting started. But when you get to a studio and you're doing one-on-one interviews, I feel like that's where I'm going to spend my money. So I can't wait for you all to see them. I just want to say before we get started on this week's news, I've got 2 requests. I think you know what I'm going to say if you've been listening to the pod. It's now episode 5. Subscribe. People, I've got about, I don't know, like maybe 95 more subscribers to get to 6,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you just liked even a small thing, even if you like my outfit, even if you like my new hair, I've got a new hairstyle, I've cut my hair. Even as simple as that, please just click subscribe, just support me. You know, I'm trying to do my thing here, yeah? If you are listening on Apple or Spotify or an audio platform, please leave me a 5-star review. The more reviews I have, the more people that can find our community. And if you're feeling extra generous, they always say, don't ask people to do more than one thing. But hey, listen, we're a new podcast. We're growing. We need all the support we can get. Leave a comment. Leave a comment on YouTube. The amount of people that watch and don't say nothing, and then I get DMs. You ain't right, you people. You are wrong. Okay? You are a wrong one to be up in my DMs, even to my face. Oh, I really love your podcast. But you ain't liked anything. And you ain't made no comment, okay? So don't chat to me until you've done and shown the love, please, in the comments. Get stuck in. Okay, right, enough of me. Let's get into this week's news. First up, this may be old depending on like how up to date you are, but I think this is going to be a really big ongoing discussion. Now, Muse is a women's fashion brand, and the founder, she's only like 27. So she is called Amy Smell. I'm just going to read and then just get you guys up to speed, because there has been so much controversy, so much backlash to this amazing young woman who set up this business that makes her about £20 million a year. And Amy, she's a founder of Muse. And what I love about Amy is she has been doing founder diaries, which I'm going to start doing as well, but I'm not on her level yet. But she's been doing founder diaries where she will go on YouTube, she'll go on her socials, and she really shares the behind the scenes. And I'm talking behind the scenes. My girl is crying. Okay, she's crying. She's showing things going wrong. She's really pouring out her heart and soul. And people are now targeting her, saying that founders shouldn't do the behind the scenes. Founders shouldn't really grow their personal brand. They should separate their personal brand from the business. So she's broken down in tears, and she did post this on her TikTok because she said that she had received a wave of online abuse. So she shared a clip of herself crying to her TikTok account, and she had a really long caption, and she said that she was heartbroken over the bullying she has received online over the last week. So there's this TikTok account, which I hate these people who just spend their days trying to bring people and businesses down. Now, I get it. We all need to be held accountable, but I just wish you would do something more positive with yourself than having an account that's called Please Don't Buy That. She, the creator of Please Don't Buy That, posted a clip accusing Muse of misleading consumers, as Muse has called themselves a slow fashion brand. So that means that they make their clothes in a sustainable way, very different from, say, Fashion Nova or Pretty Little Thing or Boohoo. And she said, my thoughts on Muse calling itself slow fashion. She was saying, I was introduced to the brand Muse this week, and she loves Amy to describe the company as slow fashion and sustainable. Within about 42 seconds of entering the website, it's really clear they are fast fashion by every sense of the definition. And the lady who runs Please Don't Buy That. I mean, I just hate negativity. Like, hold people accountable. But this Please Don't Buy That. And apparently the Please Don't Buy That girl has her own brand that by bashing others, she gets more hits on her profile. Anyway, that's another story for another day, or I'll get into that in terms of my opinion. And she says that she doesn't think Muse can call itself a slow fashion brand, all because they have referred to the fabric that they use as high-grade polyester. And she's saying that's just not possible. You can't be high-grade polyester. That's not slow fashion, etc., etc. And also Amy, her manufacturer is in China. And I think that's one of the reasons why this lady is coming for her. And so she did say, look, Amy is very successful. Her brand has done huge numbers, but she just said, look, don't take my words for face value, but I'm just going to put that source in there. And Amy, quite rightly so, was vexed, because Amy started this business while she was working at ASOS. So actually, I think she got made redundant at ASOS and then used her redundancy money to set up Muse. And she's run it from the ground up. No VC money, no angel investors. Pure, hard grit. That is not easy to do. That is so hard to do. Trust me, I have been in the trenches and I'm nowhere near where she is. Okay, and it is hard. And when people attack your baby, your business and your brand, it's your baby, you are going to take it personally. And she's only 27. And she also is a model for her brand. She takes part in the campaign. So she was really upset about this because she took it personally. Amy said that she really is proud of the fact that she is very ethical in terms of the factories that she uses. She does a lot of due diligence on their employment practices, making sure people are paid fairly. And she's got high gradings for being, I guess, fair in terms of the suppliers she uses. So she took it the wrong way. And I remember there was one time when Amy was just sharing how overwhelmed she was and her video went viral, and that's when I had heard of her. And then Stephen Bartlett saw her. She was crying hysterically, saying that she was just really overwhelmed and she wasn't really enjoying her business, and she was looking for maybe an MD to come and run the business so that she could be a bit more of a creative. And I can totally relate. The parts of business that most CEOs and founders do, it's not in the fun, it's not in the creating. Like even when I'm recording, say, my podcast, which is now going to be, I guess, another kind of revenue stream for me, God willing, it's a lot of behind the scenes. It's a lot of admin. It's a lot of arranging. It's a lot of research. It's not the fun stuff. The fun stuff is only, 30 minutes, but it's the looking at social media strategy and scheduling the posts and booking studio time, finding guests, all of that. It's the logistics. And even for my business, I told you, I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning and I had to catch a flight early this morning and I was sick. I was sick as a dog on the plane, and I have to wake up early in the morning after doing an event this evening to then rush home, drop my bags and fly to New York. It sounds glamorous, but it's exhausting. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because I've got work to do. I am so exhausted. I need a holiday, but I still have work. I still have this event to do. So in order for me to have my holiday, I have to sacrifice sleep. It's mad. So I can totally relate to where Amy is coming from. She's young, as I mentioned. I feel like we should give young people grace when they're starting up. And I also think I saw so many fools. And I'm really sorry to use this language, but it just irritates me. There's a lot of people who are on social media who call themselves business coaches. And honey, your business is your business coaching services. And for me, it's like red flag. You've never run a business where you've had to sell to consumer or had to sell to a business. Let me tell you, unless you've done B2B, and when I'm saying B2C, it's not selling you as a coach, but selling something to a customer. You can't tell me nothing. I am sorry. You have to have experience to call yourself a business coach. You have to have experience of setting up a business from the ground up, or I'll give you maybe being at the C-suite of a business so you know how a business runs. But I mean, I don't want to use, what word can I use? Josie at 123. Now you're calling yourself a business coach and giving advice. I saw so many business coaches giving Amy, who's a successful entrepreneur, advice about what she should do. There was a lot of backlash from people saying that there should not be founder-led content, that founders should stay behind their brand. And I'm like, you guys, what I would say is just get a subscription to Business Insider. It's about £8 a month. educate yourself on trends. Business Insider has lots of information around Gen Z, especially what Gen Z are buying, what they're doing, what their behaviors are. The reason why I pinpoint Gen Z is because by 2030, I've said this so many times, they're going to be the majority of people who will be in the workforce or of working age. They're also going to be the biggest consumers. If we don't get rid of our ancient backward thinking, our companies are going to fail and we're going to have 0 employees in the office. It will only be the receptionist and the CEO. Okay. So we need to understand Gen Z are the generation of content, number one. They're on YouTube, they're on TikTok, and they are all about people, impact, and purpose. They don't want to just buy a can of Coke. They want to know, who's the CEO? What's the story? What does the CEO do? What's your daily routine? What do you care about? And when they're looking at new brands to support, they buy into people. Gone are the days where you can say, look, I want to separate myself as a founder and just have a product and my business do well. I think people really need to get to grips with the idea. It's exhausting. It is exhausting. But if you want to make it in the next 5 years, you're going to have to, as a founder or a CEO, get yourself out there. So all of these experts that were saying that Amy shouldn't be a founder with a personal brand, bad advice. Even on LinkedIn, they're now saying that company pages alone, they get the worst metrics, the worst traction, and the worst engagement. What is really selling companies are their employees. So they're now investing in their CEOs now. If you go on LinkedIn, you'll see the CEOs now have someone dedicated to their social media profile. And their social media profile, really, for most of them, is LinkedIn. So that is the direction that we're going, people. And we have to jump on board this train that even if you're not a founder, if you are an employee, you have to have a personal brand. It's just the way that the world is becoming. People want to know more about who you are and what you do because they want to see, okay, you might be good at your job, but if you've got a really strong personal brand, you could bring to their company so many other things like business. And brands, they shouldn't overlook how your founders can connect to audiences, connect to your buyers, and they can tell the story. No one can tell the story better than the founder. And Gen Z love these storytelling pieces of content. So I think it's something that we should encourage. And I think it's authentic. People want to know the reality. I think what went wrong with Amy is this: jealousy. So Amy was popular when she was struggling, when she was packaging the boxes herself, when she was going to the post office. People, especially in the UK, we are very miserable in the UK. We want everyone to be broke just like our economy, right? So we don't like, say, for example, how in the US, they're like, we want you to be a millionaire. Oh, no, in the UK, we want you to be broke and miserable. Okay. So we love a come up story, but just not to the point where you actually become a millionaire or where you're actually doing well, because we don't like that because you're too showy off. Yeah. Or you're too cocky. So Amy was getting successful. She done 20 million last year and she was sharing that. Okay. I guess it's because she's young. She don't know better in that respect. Okay. I made that mistake as well a few years ago. I'll tell you my story in a bit. She was showing how well she was doing, her apartment, her houses. She was buying property. She's driving a nice car. She got her Van Cleef jewelry, got her Chanel bag. And then recently she's now moved to the US to open a store in New York. And she flew her dogs in a private jet. And she was sharing this. People are jealous. So they've got to the point where, yeah, we like your journey, but not if you're doing better than us. Okay, so stay in your lane, stay in your box, girl. And so that's where I think Amy went wrong. And, you know, in the UK, you've got to be almost keeping that part of your life private. I had it a few years ago when I was doing like my side hustle, and then I was also working in the city in the financial services. So I was doing pretty well. My business was making good money and my day job I was. And so I'm not saying I was balling, but I had a nice pair of shoes, you know, got nice perfume. I was able to really look after myself. And when I was kind of transitioning, some of my clients, they had become, I had colleagues, as in we all worked in HR, who were now becoming clients and were jealous of me. And I would hear so many comments like, oh, you smell nice, or being jealous because I have a PA and you don't. And it's like, honey, I have to wait 6 months for your invoice. What are you jealous of? And it was that, oh, Vanessa's got a PA. Oh, she thinks she's nice now, when she was just working with us and we're her clients and we're giving her X to do Y, but yet she's doing better than us. So it's like, for example, imagine you are a marketing manager and you pay Amy 20K to do a campaign and you're jealous because Amy is doing better than you, and your company is paying Amy 20K and you're resentful because you're like, well, I work at that company and she's getting 20K for an hour's piece of work. It's that jealousy and it's that foolishness, right? The risks that Amy takes. Amy could go bust and lose everything. Amy could be sued. Okay, it's risk and reward. So you having a job, it gives you security. Not many people can do what we do as entrepreneurs and sacrifice everything. Have you ever owed HMRC money? Shut your mouth if you ain't. Because until then, you don't know, okay? She wants her quint today and by the penny. You're 1p out. My girl is charging you interest. She don't play. So if you're a business, you have to pay tax. You got to pay VAT. Girl, it's not easy. So people get jealous. And I think it really happens in the UK. And that's one of the reasons why I've told everyone anyway, the UK is in the bin. We need to start thinking about leaving, because this kind of mentality, I'm glad Amy is in America, but what Amy needs to do, Amy, I'm big sis here, okay? I'm big sis in the emotional and the life experience, okay? Don't take no financial advice from me because you're doing better than me. But in the emotional, here's what I want you to do. You see that location on your TikTok? You put New York. You block out anyone that's got any content from the UK, Europe, wherever. You soak in that US energy of let's go hard, let's go big. Despite what's going on there, I feel like America, people are just motivated and inspiring. Turn off your location. Turn off the poor, bad vibes from the UK. And it was a US blogger that actually ran the Please Don't Buy That channel. But I think there's also a lot of UK people who have been doing these think pieces, criticizing Amy, saying that she should not share her founder journey. So what I want to say to Amy is just change your location, put the US, get their good vibes, and just block people. Don't retaliate. Don't comment back. Blocker, blocker, blocker. Okay? And I wish her the best. I'm always rooting for people. I love founder stories, and I'm going to be doing my founder journeys. I'm not trying to be someone that I'm not. I want people to know what the reality is so that they think twice about doing this. Because had I known, I would not be a full-time entrepreneur. I tell you this for nothing. So the founder diaries that we do, my mum actually called me brave last week. She was like, you're so brave. Because lots of people pretend. And I'm a very transparent and real person. So I think that goes a long way than trying to just be mysterious for foolishness' sake. My next story in Tech Bro News is Klarna. I've seen this all over socials, but some of you may have missed it. So Klarna, they have revealed that their customers, so Klarna is, I guess, a fintech company where if you want to purchase something, you can pay in installments. So typically, if you're ordering online from a fashion e-commerce site, they have an option to via Klarna to pay in installments for products. And it can be fashion items like a Pretty Little Thing, ASOS, to I've seen it in TK Maxx, y'all, Currys, where you can sort of buy your gadgets, everything in installments as well. And I think I've even seen I think Annex is also doing some kind of Klarna where you can, if they see a large charge, you can have a payment plan where you can pay off your holiday in installments. So they're called BNPL, Buy Now, Pay Later. Klarna revealed that more customers are struggling with the second part, paying later. So it's a Swedish fintech company. As I mentioned, they allow shoppers to pay for items in installments. They said that its consumer credit losses shot up to $136 million. That's 17% higher than Q1 last year. And it's a sign that the BNPL, Buy Now, Pay Later, might be really burdening debt-saddled Americans as more people come to rely on it. So Their revenues rose by 15%. So their revenues in Q1 alone was $701 million US dollars. That's fantastic in terms of their revenue. They've got a customer base of 100 million people. Fantastic. A quarter of the BNPL users, so 25% of people are using buy now, pay later platforms, are using it to pay for groceries, which makes me so sad. And I'm so grateful that, I shop in Lidl, okay? M&S on a good day when an invoice has been paid, right? But I'm so grateful I can shop in Lidl, and pay my groceries. And it's shot up 10%. Last year, it was only 14%, or 11%. And this is according to a recent survey by LendingTree. And then the same survey by LendingTree also revealed that 41% of people who use the buy now, pay later, they struggle to repay the loans on time. And that shot up from 34% last year. Klarna said that they're not alarmed by the increase of people who have not been able to now pay later. They say it's still very low. So it's a share of its total lending. So in terms of how much they lend, it's like 0.54%. So less than 1% of what they loan out is not paid back in time. I'm guessing either not paid back in time or not paid back at all. So Klarna, though, they had planned to have a 15 billion US dollar IPO. So they were going to go on the stock exchange and we could have all bought shares. And that is major for a company. And they'd planned to do it earlier this year, but with all the stuff that's going on with the economy and the uncertainty, they've postponed it. And earlier this year, they were gung-ho on AI. So they laid off so many employees. They laid off 700 customer service reps, and they said that they're going to replace them with AI bots. They froze hiring in 2024 and also the previous year in 2023, and they've laid off 22% of their staff. Their CEO, Sebastian, has said that they've now rehired but gig workers to work as customer service agents because they realize that relying on AI alone is just not enough to provide quality customer service. What are my thoughts? I'm not surprised. I've mentioned this before. The cost of living crisis is global. It's in Africa, it's in the UK, it's in Europe, it's in the US. People are really struggling. I think they need to do more in terms of vetting people now who are going to use buy now, pay later. I almost think it should be the reverse. If it's for groceries, I think it's a need. I think you should run that credit line to a certain extent, maybe cap it to say, okay, how many people in your household, do a quick survey and we can give you, £50 a week limit. I think buy now, pay later for things like TK Maxx. I would say if you're using buy now, pay later and TK Maxx, it's already a discount store. I would say, is it a shop that you really need to be going to buy stuff from? Again, with ASOS and Pretty Little Thing, yes, I know we all need to live, but I think they need to do a bit more checks and approvals to make sure that people are not getting themselves further into debt just for the sake of aesthetics. I going to Atlanta and New York, and usually I will be like, I need a new fit for this thing and this thing. I am bringing the same outfits that I wore in South Africa. I don't business, same temperature. I'm now thinking about my spending. But some people might think, oh, I've got nothing to wear. And they do. They've got loads of stuff in their wardrobe. So just rewear your stuff rather than going on ASOS because you want to be looking nice on Instagram. We all do, but is that the time? Is now the time? And also the whole AI thing, of course. AI, as I mentioned before last week, they can't replace humans. So I'm not surprised now that Klarna has now backtracked. A new report released by the Hiring Lab has shown that there's been an increase in the number of roles that are requiring candidates to have generative AI skills. Now, this is really getting me excited. So Gen I, the term Gen I, in terms of a skill set that you need to have in a job description, only appears in about 1 in every 3 1,000 job postings, but it's growing, okay? So employers are now looking at their future candidates to have Gen AI skills, right? So the number of US job postings that mention Gen AI has skyrocketed the past year, 170% from January 2024 to January 2025. And the roles where they have required generative AI skills, the top roles that required Gen AI as a skill set were the following. The first one was management consultant, which I thought that's really important. Management consultants get paid so much money. They need to know how to use Gen AI to make them more efficient, maybe make their work quicker so that they're really selling their value to their clients. The second role that had Gen AI as a top requirement was machine learning engineer, followed by software architect, followed by data scientist, and followed by software engineer. And the report also says that there's been a surge, but it's around 12.4% of roles advertised are now requiring candidates to have Gen AI skills. And I was with some friends on Friday. We were doing a strategy away day. And my friend Janet, shout out to Janet, she is actually going to do some work with me and I guess giving me advice. She uses AI a lot in her role. And she has been saying this to me for months. She's like, girl, upskill yourself on Gen AI, because Gen AI, if you don't know how to use Gen AI to be more efficient, in the next 12 months, you're going to be behind. And so I think it's important for us to upskill ourselves on generative AI tools that we can use very fast. Just saying you know how to use ChatGPT is not going to cut it, because one of the areas that people fall short on is the prompts for the Gen AI tools. And it's not just ChatGPT. There are so many other different tools out there. You need to know which ones are appropriate and how to use them as well, really efficiently. And you also have to know how to train your model. So, for example, there are different AI tools that you can use, but you've got to understand how to train your tools to get the best out of them. Okay. And you've also got to be able to verify information using AI. So I think it's really, really, really important. And it's just screaming, let's not get left behind. Let's upskill ourselves. I think Google are doing a course on generative AI. I'm pretty sure OpenAI must do some type of training, given that they are a for-purpose-led business. So have a look and see if OpenAI do any training on AI tools. Google do AI courses, and also LinkedIn. They do a lot of short courses. So upskill yourself on that and get ready, because one of the questions you will be asked in a job interview is, tell me about a time when you've used generative AI. And if you can't answer that question with an example, it might be, tell me about a time when you've used Gen AI to save your employer money or to deliver a project quicker. That's going to be some of the questions we're going to be asked. So it's really important for us to upskill ourselves. And just to remind yourself, you are not going to be replaced by AI, but you may be replaced by somebody who can use AI. How about that? Lastly, OpenAI, they have paid $6.5 billion for John Eve's IO product-based business. Now, quickly, John is from Apple previously. So basically, John designed the iPad, the iPhone. He worked really closely with Steve Jobs. And OpenAI have just bought his startup. And now he's coming in-house at OpenAI to look at making a potential AI software or phone. Girls, non-binaries and boys and people, I can't. More on that next week. But this news, it shooketh me. If I was Apple, hey, I would be shook. I would be shook. Okay? Because they're going to be cooking up something. They're going to be marinating on something. And I can't wait to see it. Enough from me. Thank you so much for listening. Apologies for my setup, but I had to get this news and the tea to you. If you like this episode, share it with someone who you think will benefit. And don't forget, subscribe and get engaged. I'll see you next week.